Right, so, last time, on FlatOut 2, we began the race class, and now, I think it's time to put on a few more upgrades, just as pretty much a compensation to say that we do have enough speed out of this thing to realistically give us a shot of winning our next event. I would think about putting on the chip and displacement as well, but in all honesty, I'm not sure if I really need that. However, what I will put on is... yeah, let's go with modified steering. I think that should work. And outside of that, the only other thing I'll really do here is put on... Actually, no. I think we'll be alright the way we are. The only thing I'll really do to change this thing is just put on the two manifolds. Put on the racing exhaust and the racing manifold. And hopefully all that should be enough. I don't think we're going to have too many problems here, but I figured I just wanted to be sure by putting on these upgrades to see if they would manage to, well, be successful. So, we are continuing with the Mad Rash, and by this time we are doing the Rumble Racing Cup. And where if we win, we will get 2200 credits, plus the amount of times I get rewarded for causing carnage during the 4 races. Anyway, here we are with the Rumble Racing Cup, beginning at City Central 1. Office buildings, glass towers, an underground car park and a gas station are all here to crash through. I think you probably get the idea of what we're doing here. Even though the main thing I'll be focusing on is crashing into my opponents. Just giving myself a sip of water. Now let's go and see how we do, as I immediately get a push off the line. And already it looks like I might be underpowered, as I get a slam on Katie. And currently P3, that's clearly a scoring error. If it's anything. And I'm now up into second, and Sophia loses control, and that now elevates me up to the race lead. Ahead of... is that Frank who's behind me? And Sophia spins out again. Yep, that is Frank. And he slams me into the wall. Understandably so, I might add. But either way, this is a 4-lap race. Whatever mistakes we make early on, we do have enough time to at least rectify those mistakes. From what I can see. And hard on the brakes. Running a little bit wide there on the corner exit, but still able to make it. I think there might be a shortcut around the outside. Sophia closes in again. And this time, I'm gonna head through the tunnel. And immediately I wreck myself. And Sally wrecks herself, unsurprisingly. And looks like at this point, it's hard to tell where we stand. But I am still convinced in saying that I can manage to get some of my questions answered as I run into some more debris. I'm right behind Sophia, and I might be able to get a clean run on her as long as I don't run into everything else, and I just nudge her out the way, which I would say is more or less fair. And hard on the brakes, not as much off throttle time as what I had before, and I set a new fastest lap with almost a 117 flat. And I am still running into lampposts. However, can I manage to at least keep myself at the front without losing too much speed? I think that's now Jason who's behind me, so... Oh, fuck you. Fuck all of you. Well, there's still time for me to recover at least. The AI often do tend to be about as inconsistent as me from time to time. But where I usually am consistent is with my point scores. And because taking that parking lot entrance isn't really a shortcut, this is where I will hopefully thrive, as Ray now makes his way up into second right before I slam him. And now I am in the lead. Again, that is a clear scoring error. It's very easy to notice if you've been playing video games long enough to know when there is those types of fixtures. And Sophia once again goes for a spin, and it looks as though at this point like I might have the advantage over Jack. I think it's Jack who's running in second, and it's Ray who's running third, with Jason fourth. My car may not be the fastest, but at the very least it's one of the most efficient. And over the line as I set a new lap record. And I also... Oh, I was 7/10 off the overall fastest lap. I knew that was going to happen. I was literally waiting to see how long it was before I parked on the bridge. And then suddenly the AI just drilled into me. I was waiting for that. So, victory in the end by less than 4 seconds over Jack. Jason third, Sally fourth, Katie was fifth. Then we had Frank finish in sixth, followed by Ray seventh. And it was Sophia Martinez who finished in eighth and last. 10 seconds behind me, if you can believe it. Well, 10.1 seconds to be more specific. But anyway, race 1 is down as my avatar lays on the asphalt. But anyway, and I got 3 slams in that race and only 300 credits. At least I managed to get a few racks on the AI. Not many, but I think it's enough. And nothing on the top driver rewards. All of them were different drivers. But anyway, let's move on to race 2. So those are your standings after race 1. Now let's press on to race 2 at Farmlands 3. Get ready to crash through the local greenhouse community and pass by the beach camping area. And just having another sip of water, as I so often do for these things. And now we begin our second race of the Rumble Racing Cup. Quadrilogy. I'm pretty sure that is a word. I have heard it being coined a few times, so I'm pretty convinced in saying it's a real word. Or if you're looking for the specific term, it would be tetralogy. Which is basically a series of 4, if you're asking. I did not think I was going to get that slam on Jason. I mean, he was just right... he was just right there in front of me. And I get slammed into by both Frank and Sophia. So now I actually need to make sure that, for whatever reason, I manage to hold on to my position. I may not have the fastest car in the field, but I certainly have one of the most efficient cars in the field. As does Sophia in... I think that's supposed to be a mock-up of a Honda Civic, if I'm not mistaken. Well, it's either a Civic or it's a CRX. I would say it's more likely to be a CRX. As I am once again losing my voice. And I get slammed into by Ray. However, I do also get a hit on Jack. As Sally tries to do the crossover, but she is... And I get spun round. What a surprise. Yeah, did I mention the AI in this game show no mercy? Well, that's pretty much what the idea of this game is. You literally have to show no mercy in order to win. Basically, the only way to win in this game is to play dirty, as we've had a double crash into... I think that's supposed to be a beach hut. It's either that or it's just a shed. But either way, I'm right behind Jack. I almost slam into a tree. I was really trying to go for the crossover there. He forces me into the fence. And it looks like Jack is going to take race 2. However, I do manage to take a much-earned second place as I finish off the road. And I set the fastest lap of that race by a long way, if you can believe it, at 55.9. Probably because I was in the draft of Jack, who was leading. And Jason 3rd, with Katie 4th. And there's the bottom 4 rounded off, this time by Frank. Okay, that's not too bad. Anyway, I really tried to see if I could actually sell the dummy and then go for the crossover, but unfortunately I probably got too close to the tree it was then that which then caused me to get some oversteer, and then afterwards it was basically just... And then, well, afterwards I was kind of forced into the guardrail. And I guess that's understandable, because, I mean, Jack probably did have the faster car than me anyway. By the way, those are my rewards. 1 slam, 1 power hit, 1 super flip, and 1 blast out. And I get another 300 credits for the fastest lap. And Jason Walker ironically managed to top 3 out of 4 of the stats, for being the best wrecker, the blastmaster, and the bulldozer. Still, I do manage to get a pretty good payday on race 2. So we are now tied, heading into race 3. Myself over Jack, and Jason is still running 3rd, as this time Katie moves up to 4th over Sally. On now to Pine Grove 2. Okay, let's do this. Banked roads and tight turns require extra precision. I've read the first line enough times now, so I think you probably understand why I only read the second line. Still, it is nice for me to actually get bonus credits for the fastest lap. I think that's a nice way to, incentivize the progress of what you do during each of these races. And already there's a wreck, and most of the field I think was involved in that. There was definitely 4 cars involved at least, so I'm pretty sure that was a big one. Maybe it would help if I focused more over keeping my car on the track rather than just trying to go for dive bombs that simply won't work. I think that might be my best solution at this point, as Frank wrecks. And I get a power hit and a slam on my main rival Jack, and I go straight into the logs. Lost a little bit of time there, but hopefully not too much time. I don't think Ray has actually won a race in this game as of yet. But either way, I know precisely who I have to beat, as I set my personal fastest lap. Ray is trying to get past me, however he does not do so. I force him round the outside, and now it looks like at this point that we are doing okay, as I get a side swipe there by Jack. However, I am having none of it because I throw the block on him immediately afterwards. So I am leading now. Jack is in second, and I think it's Katie who's currently running 3rd. No, Sally's running 3rd. Okay. And Katie, I should correct myself, is currently running last. And Sally has now fallen back. And Jack is once again trying to see if he can pull off a dive bomb. We are tied on points heading into race 3. So this, I can confidently say, is going to be a close one. If things stay the way they are now. He is right on my ass. He is definitely trying to see if he can do the same to me again. And I give him a slam. I basically shut the door on him. Now I just have to hope I can hold on. Got some boost, so straight for the line. And there we go, 2 wins out of 3 to me. And the fastest lap in the end was achieved by Frank, winning in the end by less than a second over Jack. That was a pretty good race, I'm not gonna lie. Really competitive. Then we had Sophia completing the podium, then Sally 4th, Jason 5th, Frank finishes 6th over Ray Carter, and it was Katie Jackson who finished in last. One of my previous tournament rivals. But anyway, 2 wins out of 3 to the Mad Rash. As expected, there were wrecks pretty much from start to finish. But then again, that's kind of what this game does anyway. I wonder if I can actually get a clean shot of this thing with the actual headlights intact. Well, prior to that, of course. But it would have been cool if I was able to actually get a clean shot of this thing. I think I'll record it up to the end of the first lap and then that'll pretty much do it. We're still very much in a dead heat for this one. Because of just how close we are. Okay, I think that'll do it. I think I did manage to get a few decent shots there. So, let's now move on to the finale of the Racing Rumble Cup. I think I previously got a shot of this thing on asphalt, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, so got 2 slams and 1 power hit. And no further rewards. Still managed to get 400 credits though, so that's fine. Okay. So we're pretty much in a dead heat. I still have to finish either in front or just behind Jack in order to claim this one. It's a 2-point gap. No one else is even close. We have a 2-way tie for 8th. Sally is still 4th. So it's pretty much all to play for here. As we now head to our final race at City Central 3. This route takes you amongst narrow residential blocks, through a gigantic mall, and onto the high-speed highway. Oh boy. I really hope I do not have a top speed deficit. Because if I do, then I might as well be fucked. But hopefully that's not the case. Because this car was pretty decent in speed before. So we'll just have to wait and see how we go. as I get a power hit already on Sophia. And the racks continue, as both Jack and Katie were involved in that one. Sally is the one driving the El Camino, and Ray is also in the battle here, who gets spun out, and I get slammed by Sally. However, I do manage to get myself up into the lead. Sally is still in this one, so we'll see how we go. As I am having trouble controlling my dehydration at the moment. And thankfully the game reset me in the right place. This time anyway. As I boot Sophia out the way. And now I have an advantage, as Jason has now fallen down to 6th, and Jack is now down to 5th. However, considering how close this championship has been up to this point, there is basically no one out of this. Well, no one except for Ray. But either way, we're still running pretty good. We do still have 2 more laps on the board. So we'll see how we go. As I get a little bit loose there on corner exit, but able to hold on to it. And I run into some cars. And I almost lose control of my car right before saving it. Sally is 2nd, with Katie 3rd and Sophia 4th for now. And Katie is now up to 3rd. And now Ray is suddenly making a charge, and that's a wall. At least I can say Jack is not involved in this, which is the important thing. As long as I stay ahead of Jack, I should be fine. As Jason is pretty pissed right now. And it looks like my underpowered car on speed is struggling again, as Jason wrecks. And I boot Sophia out the way, and now all that's left is Sally. So let's see how we go. As I get a slam on her. And Jack is now back up to 3rd again, so this battle just continues to have comers and goers. And Sophia is now out. And we still have 1 lap to go after this one. So I take it Sophia must have had 1 race ending wreck that must have put her out. But anyway. Final lap of City Central 3. And so it all comes down to this. Can I manage to actually keep my car off the pillar? Sorry, off the median this time. Jack is right behind me, so I'm really gonna have to just say to him, back up Jack, pun intended. Come on. Also, shout out to Ray for actually being in this battle. Anyway. Still got quite a battle brewing up over here. Just gotta stay in first and then we should be fine. It's been a pretty chaotic race but at the end of it, I emerge victorious, with 2 wins out of 4 over Jack, and Ray manages to get a rare podium, and I also set the fastest lap of the race as well, with a 1:11.11, finishing 6.29 seconds ahead of Jack. Then Ray finishes in 3rd, with Jason 4th, Sally 5th, Frank in 6th, Katie 7th, and Sophia was our only retiree from this race. As a result, she finishes last. And a gap of 16 seconds from the first finisher to the last finisher. But at the end of the day, I simply outpaced Jack. And I think what I got in the end was it 2 wins or 3? I don't remember. I think I got 3 out of 4 if I'm not mistaken. I would have to check to be sure, but I think that's what it is. So 6 slams and 1 power hit, and I got another win. Yeah, I think it is 3 out of 4. So 800 credits, and another 600 credits for scoring the fastest lap, and also for being the bulldozer. And Ray manages to take the other 2 awards for being the best wrecker, as well as also being the blast master. Not bad if I do say so myself. Still, even when I did win race 3, it still felt like it was a dead heat, because I only had a 2-point advantage over Jack. And then once I won again, that was basically when I knew that the championship was won. But there we go. So, I win by 4 points over Jack with 3 out of 4 wins. Then Jason comes home 3rd, as a result of his 2 podiums to open up the Rumble Racing Cup, and Sally completes the top 4, after she manages to bag some much needed points after she finished 7th in race 2. So then Ray comes home 5th, as a result of him finishing 3rd. In the final race, we had a tie for 6th between Katie and Sophia. Katie gets the tiebreaker, and at the back we had Frank, who finished no higher than 6th in that whole championship. Anyway, still pretty crazy, but at least we managed to win. And as a result of us winning, we get another 2200 credits, 3 golds and 1 silver. And now we have unlocked stone skipping. And as a result, we have now unlocked some new cars. The first one being, is it pronounced Lancia or Lancia? I think it's pronounced Lancia, but I don't know for sure. It could just be pronounced Lancia or Lancia. Whatever. We also unlock the Fortune, along with the Daytona. And is that it? Yeah, that's it. And we get another 10,000 credits, as we've now advanced to level 2. And that took me less than 53 minutes to get through those 4 races, including restarts. But anyway, there we go. The level 1 race cups are now done, and next time we will be doing the Racing Twilight Cup. So, yeah, stay tuned for that.
You love the rush.